Hi, my name is Kirbee Miller, and I am an author, entrepreneur, and lover of people. The immense pain in my life, the immense shock that came during that time in my life, it cracked me wide open, and it gave birth to new dreams and desires. But in all honesty, I believe it gave me the courage and boldness to sit with dreams and desires that were always there, that were kind of latent, that I would just kind of visit in my private time. But when you are faced with a tragedy and you are looking at how fragile life is, it invites you into this knowing of stop playing. It reminds me of another quote, but they keep me encouraged. There's one that says, "We all have two lives. The second one begins when we realize that we only have one." And that's what happened to me in that moment. I kind of felt for many years that I'm doing it. I'm doing this thing in the world. I'm doing all the things that are expected from me. And I'm kind of creating this dream on the side, like I'm doing it all. But then when I found myself in that situation with that pain, and like you said, birthing something new, I understood that, I've been playing small in this arena. I've been putting these things to the side. I've been trying to satiate myself with this duality, but then I realized that, I've got one life. I've been given gifts and talent and purpose, and we've got to play all out. So you're right. That scenario in my life did give birth to new desires and passions, but it also gave me the courage to sit with the ones that have been with me the whole time. When I think about the moments in my life that have really kind of threatened my identity, that have challenged me to sink into who am I and what am I doing, those moments that almost feel like they last forever, that they're insurmountable, have actually given birth to some of the most beautiful things in my life. I mentioned before I was on the other side of a phone call that delivered some unfortunate news. My parents were in a tragic car accident here in Nashville, and in that moment, everything changed. I was in the healthcare world and worked at our Tier 1 trauma center here. So in that moment, I could make the right phone calls to get them the help that they needed. But then as a daughter, the breaking that happens as you're walking room to room, trying to make the right decisions in the right moment. You just aren't ready for things like that. And over the course of the next few months, life would change in ways that I could never imagine. I spent over 5.5 months sleeping in the clinical setting. My mom was in a coma for a significant portion of that time. Many times I was woken up out of the chair in the middle of the night to say, hey, we need a decision. And we just want to make sure that you're clear about what their final wishes would be. Meanwhile, I was on autopilot. Sleeping in that chair, I would then wake up, take a shower in the hospital room, be there for rounds with the doctors, then walk across campus and do my job because my family was in my place of work. And it was during that time that people would come up to me and say, Kirbee, you're so strong. You're so resilient. I don't know how you're doing it. Great work on that project. How are your parents? All of these moments. And the whole time, I felt as though I was suffocating in plain sight. How could I be in geographical proximity to people who know me, to people who love me, and no one knows I'm not doing well? That journey cracked me wide open, and it sent me back to a hyper-personal realm of giving birth to my gratitude practice and writing. Those were things that I had done in the past that, I'd kind of put a pin in, but sitting in the hospital room at 3:00 in the morning, things kind of come back to you. So through that journey, I had to go inward, and it led me to writing a project called Nourish, a guide to coming home to yourself. Because in that space, I had a knowing that no one was coming to save me. No one. And it felt so lonely and harsh initially. But then when I kind of started doing these practices again, I understood no one is coming to save me, but I do have access to everything that I need. And so having a hyper-personal journey of journaling and writing and having a gratitude practice is what I needed to help me feel as though I could ground, to help me feel as though I could take a deep breath again, to help me understand that even though this moment feels hopeless, hope is still available. And so I felt like if I needed this, perhaps other people need this. And other people need to know that we search for home in so many other places, but first we have to come home to ourselves. And it led me on a journey to be vulnerable and put this work out into the world, and has literally taken me on a global journey to spend time with people, to go through the work that's in the book, to have real conversation, to have those moments to say, hey, if you don't have it all figured out, that's fine. Be here, be human, and let's hop into some of these practices and tools that allow us just to be. We can leave our titles, we can leave our expectations, we can leave our responsibilities, and we can go on this journey to come home to ourselves, and you'll be better for it. Your work will be better for it. Your families will be better for it. And that moment has really changed my life and helped me to step fully into what I believe I was designed to do in this world, but that came through something that was so harsh and so tragic and unfair and unrelenting. And so when I think about all of the concepts that we've talked about, those have all come shining through during this chapter in my life as I'm navigating currently. Still, I tell people, you're not the same person on the other side of tragedy, but if you allow it, you can be a better person.